Okay, so the major thing here is that most things have happened behind the scenes in a bit of a rearrangement of the scripting. But even just on the interface, you can see it's a lot cleaner. We've put the tube panel menu and the data panel menu behind these buttons. So this panel here contains a create button. I've made an event trigger on the little image that is presented here, and it basically sets the tube panel to being active if it's pressed down. Similarly, the data panel is made active if we press the report icon. That just makes a cleaner interface. The other major thing is that the pipette stand now will trigger the arrival of a pipette. And that's achieved by us simply making this change to the pipette stand script to say that when we hit the mouse down on that object, we're first of all going to check that there is actually a pipette defined. If there is, then we'll move it there. If there isn't, then we'll make a pipette. Now, the reason why it's good to do this is that it means that when we make the pipette, we can make sure that the various things that have to happen at the start, like setting up the aliquot concentrations list, will happen at the right time. If we don't do that, if we have it set up right at the beginning, it's possible that that will try and fire before we've actually had a chance to set up all the compounds. Now, the compounds are now in this scenario setup script. So this is the new script that's been created. It has a reference to the drop down and a reference to a list of components like used to be in the new tube script. And we do exactly the same thing. We have a routine to set up the components. We have a routine to set up all the options that are going to be in the drop down. And you'll notice that I've mixed it up a bit. I've actually made an extra compound, sodium chloride. I've changed the phenol red to bromophenol blue, just to show that this is what you do if you change the chemicals. So there's several solutions that we can have, and when those solutions are selected, then we'll be enacting particular drop-down choices which will populate particular concentrations in the resulting solution. So that's all fine. It's now in this script that's aside from new tube. So the new tube script now deals purely with creating a tube. Doesn't have anything to do with the setup. And the other nice little thing about this grand script on its higher level is that we're able to consolidate these color functions. Remember, both the aliquot and the liquid in the tube need to inherit a color that's commensurate with the concentration. And so we pass in a particular concentration and it will send out a particular color. So as long as we set what the water and the particular compound are going to be, we'll get a proper color. So that's rather nice. Now the pipette actions script that now changes so that we set up the concentration list as I've just explained. But from now on, rather than continually referring to scenario setup to find out how many compounds we've got to deal with, we just use all of the count of the aliquot concentrations that we've made, which will be the same thing. We've also added a master line to record the action, whether or not it's suck up or dispense. So we actually integrate suck up or dispense here in this direction term, and we have a way of recording the time. So that will help troubleshooting or marking even if you wanted to judge process. Liquid in tube, similar sort of thing. Right at the beginning, we need to refer to scenario setup script to get the count of the components. But from that moment on, we're able to do all of our loops using the number of concentrations that we set up. Gather tube data, that's changed again to put in the how's that changed? Oh, well, that finds, yes, the major change there is that it's just, if we try and get the pipette actions, it will go off and find the pipette first, rather than trying uh, to throw an error if no pipette is found. I think that is just about it. Those are the major changes: the new tube, the scenario setup. Nothing's changed in tube actions or camera panning or dragging the tube or guiding the pipette. So yeah, that's it for now, and we'll work out what we do next.